All right, so we've got a talking point from Dave, which is the Bible has 200 references to the flat Earth. Every major ancient civilization cosmology depicts the Earth as flat.
That's from me or from Dave?
That is
I would
from
never say
you,
that.
I think.
That's not from me. That's not from me.
It's from Ash. It's from Ash.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Bible believer, you know, from page 1 in the Bible, it says God separated the waters from the waters and created the firmament. That's all interesting, but you know, I don't use the Bible as science because science will show us on a ball Earth, Dave.
Yep.
You have to have a physical horizon, right? If my fingernail is a boat, as it goes away, it disappears below a physical horizon, and zooming in will not bring it back. However, we can see too far. They say the ball is 24,901 miles around, but we can see things that are way, way, way farther. And with infrared, now we're seeing things 500 to 1,000 miles away. The amount of curvature.
No, you're not.
I know, yeah, we are.
You're not.
Wow, so flat out denial. Okay, lying. I mean, you have to hand it to Professor Dave. In addition to being a master of logical fallacies, particularly the straw man, he's also a pretty good master of psychological projection. I mean, quite accurate. I mean, what are we going to rope this I mean, this is technically would probably be personal incredulity logical fallacy because he can't believe it's true. So he's saying, oh, no, you're not. It's not true.
Go look at Jay Tolan Media's channel.
Go
amazing.
look at some lies that a flat earther said. That is real evidence.
No,
So that would be a genetic logical fallacy and an ad hom. Man, Professor Dave's on a roll. Just fallacy, 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 fallacy. I mean, this has got to be the world record for most fallacies in a single debate in the least amount of time.
Sure.
It's Dave. It's well documented. You haven't looked at it. And then when you say the curvature formula is a parabola, I absolutely agree. It is. Over 1,000 miles, it gets off a little bit, but anything under 1,000 miles, all three formulas come within a very close proximity of each other.
Yeah,
right?
but the problem is you can't do math, so you just do the math wrong.
Okay, so that's an ad hom and a straw man logical fallacy because he didn't even examine the math and he's claiming it is wrong.
Well, you just say that, but if you look at all of the curvature formulas under 1,000 miles, it's perfectly accurate. And then you think that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and we don't feel it, and we're changing, you know, we're changing directions. How is that possible? How about when the Earth comes around comes around towards the sun in the winter, in our northern winter, it's speeding up and taking its sharpest turn, and then we don't feel any of those forces?
Its sharpest turn. Okay, so this one's really hilarious to me. So the sun goes around the Earth, the Earth goes around the sun in how long? How long does it take?
A year.
A year, right? So why don't you go ahead and get in a car and do a 360 turn and make it take a year? Are you going to feel that?
Dave, that's not a
Let's
fair...
break it down. 360 degrees, 365 days. That's about a degree a year, right? Why don't you get in a car and drive for 24 hours and over 24 hours veer by 1 degree? Are you going to feel that?
Okay, this guy actually seems genuine, so I think I'm going to have to lean towards mental disability. So this is a false analogy or a non-congruent logical fallacy. Again, Professor Dave is starting to get a little bit more diverse with his logical fallacies here. So obviously, one single motion over a period of time is non-congruent to the claimed motions of the Earth, because there's a claimed 1,000 mile per hour spin on the axis, then there's the claimed movement around the sun, then there's the claimed movement of the entire Milky Way galaxy. So these are all multiple points of direction, not a single point.
That would be equivalent to this. People say, "Oh, I'm just trying to think of the easiest way."
I'm just trying to think of something to say that will make sense.
Stop being a dick. Right? Imagine if you want to compare that.
Man.
If you want to compare that to reality, imagine you're in an airplane where you remove the outer shell of the airplane, you double the speed of the airplane, and you nosedive 2 miles a minute. Okay, and that just to follow the curve of the Earth. That's the speed that the Earth is curving. And when something's moving and it's curving, that's acceleration. Okay, so
big words.
So that was a red herring. I'm going to count that as a red herring for Flat Earth Dave here because that doesn't specifically address the multiple motions or the time of the motion. He kind of changed the argument on moving vertically, whereas the previous argument was moving horizontally.
Acceleration's a big word.
You know, well, it is for you because you're not using it properly.
How is he not using it properly? So, I mean, this would basically be an ad hom, as if he's too stupid to know the right definition, so he's not using it properly without showing how he's not using it properly.
So, acceleration is rate of change in velocity. So you're using it like
when
velocity.
You change
so
off
you don't
of
know
your
what
vector,
acceleration
when
means.
you change off of your vector, that force is equal to acceleration. Okay.
Yeah, but I just told you, right? It takes a year to go around the sun. What?
So,
how much are you feeling? Do you want to calculate it? Should we calculate it together?
I'm talking about the spin of the Earth. The spin of the Earth. The spin of the Earth. Right? You're dropping.
The spin of the Earth is constant.
2 miles
you do
a
not
minute.
feel.
You're falling, like if you take a point in space and you go for an hour, you're falling at the same rate as a skydiver free falling. Okay? That's ridiculous. Right? You are curving off of your line of your trajectory.
So that's an appeal to incredulity by Flat Earth Dave there. Just because it's ridiculous doesn't mean it's not true. Now, he does mix in some examples, but unless he does so here, this is a fallacy for him.
This one I think I figured out, and I think this one is genuine confusion on your part. So I don't want to hold this one against you as much as other lies you tell, which are just blatant lies.
The psychological projection off the chart, another ad hom there. And a straw man, too, because he's basically alleging that Dave is intentionally lying and doing all these things.
This one is just you not understanding. You're trying to compare motion within the atmosphere of the Earth. So you're like, oh my gosh, something going through the atmosphere so fast and it's crazy and we feel it, versus motion in frictionless space. Do you not understand that that's not the same thing, right? The atmosphere on Earth is very thick. There's a lot of friction, right? So when you try to move through air, there's friction and you feel it.
So that's a red herring on the part of so-called Professor Dave, because that's not really relevant. Like, whether you would feel it or not, either it's happening or it's not happening. Because, I mean, that was a fallacious point from Flat Earth Dave saying it's ridiculous. That's an appeal to incredulity right there. But this is clearly a red herring, and also burden of proof if he's going to claim that something is frictionless versus not frictionless, and a space has whatever, the atmosphere is here, not there. I mean, again, these are things that need to be proven, which he has not done. And you could also, that's also circular reasoning, logical fallacy, technically.
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
If that air is spinning with the Earth, which you have to believe in your model, you would feel
doesn't matter.
You would feel that motion. If you're in an airplane,
why would you feel the motion? Why would you feel the motion?
Because your energy is changing directions, and you would have
your energy is changing directions.
What about eclipses, guys? What about eclipses?
Hold on.
That's my third talking point. I hope we get to it.
Let's finish this point. Your mainstream science says that because of the spin of the Earth, because of the centrifugal force, that the water bulges at the equator 14 miles high.
What?
This is what Neil deGrasse Tyson and science tells us about the spin of the Earth. The water at the equator, yes, it does. It bulges 14 miles high.
He actually did say that. So this just denial of, I mean, what would you even place this in?
The tide doesn't actually come in and out. There is a bulge of water, 2 of them, on opposite sides of the Earth, caused by the sun and the moon. And Earth turns inside that bulge. When we say the water rises and falls tidally, what's happening is we are rotating into the bulge and then out of the bulge.
So the bulge is already there.
It's already there.
And all we kind of do is pass through the bulge.
Pass through, and the water gets high and it gets low.
So that's the clip there from Neil deGrasse Tyson here. And of course, Professor Dave is so clueless, he doesn't even know about the equatorial bulge. That's his own model that he's defending on blind faith and logical fallacies. So this goof, he's so clueless and triggered like a small child. He hears something he doesn't think is true. No, that's not true. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Like a small child denying what they're ignorant of. So another appeal to incredulity, logical fallacy. I mean, this is world record stuff here.
It makes the Earth 29 miles wider at the equator.
No, no. That's the Earth, not the water.
There is a bulge of water.
What are you talking about?
There is a bulge of water.
Are you a moron?
There is a bulge of water.
Dude, the radius. This is what happened. You're very confused.
So let me ask you a question,
No, stop, because you just said a very specific number, and I know why you said that number. The diameter of the Earth is about 27 miles greater at the equator. That's the whole Earth. You're trying to pretend that it's all water, that there's just this big thing of water that's 14 miles. Is that what you're genuinely trying to say? Are you that stupid?
There is a bulge of water.
What a goof.
Well, that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson says. But
No, he didn't say that.
There is a bulge of water.
No, he didn't say that.
There is a bulge of water.
I'll go with you. The Earth is bulging. So does that mean that large bodies of water at rest near the equator, if you hung a plumb line over it, that it wouldn't be perpendicular to the surface of the water? It would be off just a little bit because of that bulge? Or does gravity? Well,
what does the bulge of the equator have to do with the water?
There is a bulge of water, two of them, on opposite sides of the Earth.
Well, because the gravity pulls everything to the center of the Earth in your whole world.
Does Professor Dave not know that there's water, that there's oceans? I mean, his argument here, it's making it seem like he's not aware that the ocean is on the Earth, so therefore the any kind of bulge would affect the water because, I mean, the Earth is mostly water according to his mind. I mean, this level of cluelessness, I mean, this truly is record-breaking.
And if we have a bulge at the equator, a plumb line, which should be vertical, it should be perpendicular to the water, would not be perpendicular to the water because the water would be sloping away because we have a bulge.
What do you mean sloping away? Okay, a bulge isn't. First of all, as I just said, this has nothing to do with the water.
There is a bulge of water, two of them, on opposite sides of the Earth.
It's the shape of the Earth itself, so you're just completely wrong anyway.
There is a bulge of water, two of them, on opposite sides of the Earth.
But second of all, what this is the thing with you guys. You think that the curvature of the Earth is supposed to be, you're talking about a plumb line. Do you think that the curvature of the Earth is supposed to be like this or something? Do you have no idea how big the Earth is? Do you not understand that the curvature is not detectable at the surface of the Earth?
I mean, it's not detectable, yet he's claiming that a ship would disappear over the edge, if that's what he's claiming, unless he doesn't claim that. But he claimed that the other guy doesn't know math because he doesn't understand any of these arguments. So the psychological projection just off the charts here. He doesn't understand any of it, yet he continues to argue.
It's really big. It's a really big planet.
Horizon. We can see boats go over the horizon. We can see boats go over the horizon, but we can't see the curve, right? Dave, according to your math, there's certain things that should be behind a curve at certain distances, but we can see too far.
But we can't. You just lie about them.
Who's the one that just said you can't detect it?
You just said earlier that we can see things 1,000 miles away. Are you out of your mind? Everybody should be able to take a telescope then and see something 1,000 miles away. Why can't they?
Oh, that's a great argument. So this goof doesn't know about the visibility index. So he just did, he just stacked a few more logical fallacies there, the false dichotomy. Either if the Earth is flat, you see forever. There's just no such thing as precipitation. There's no such thing as rain or any precipitation. There's no such thing as a visibility index. I mean, this level of goofery. And again, an argument from a reductive logical fallacy here, assuming there wouldn't be other variables like precipitation, which is obviously true. I mean, he's never heard of fog? I mean, what kind of goofery is this?
Dave, you don't know where it was taking it from. It's infrared cameras. Go look at JTOL and Media One and watch all of the.
He's the special one. He can do it. Nobody else can do it.
Actually,
Nobody else can get this footage. Oh, but they don't.
Dave, let me ask you a question.
They just don't because they don't feel like it.
Is
Straw man, genetic logical fallacy. There's a whole bunch of infrared footage. There's infrared footage from planes, etc., etc. But he's so busy interrupting, trying to set the world record for logical fallacies that, or again, if he just gets at a kick out of making himself look this stupid and embarrassing himself to this level, I mean, bravo, because he accomplished that.
Do you believe that the ground is horizontal?
It's almost perfectly horizontal. Yes.
Okay, are horizontals parallel?
If you
Are horizontals parallel? That's a question.
I think what you're trying to ask is if you have parallel planes, right? If you have two flat planes, can they be made parallel? Yes, two flat planes can
That's
be
not what
made
I'm saying.
parallel. Well, what are you saying? Because nobody has
what
any
I'm
clue
saying
what you're
is-
saying.
If you have a horizontal line on Earth, then there's only one point that would be touching the Earth, and the rest would just rise up into space. But all horizontal lines line up with the horizontal horizon. Okay, they're all parallel.
Yeah, do they, or do they just look like that because your eyes suck and they can't distinguish between arc seconds of angle?
Oh, okay. So maybe he's not mentally disabled. So he's just intellectually dishonest because all of a sudden, he's claiming what you see might not be true. So the hypocrisy off the charts here, because earlier you look through a telescope, something looks round, all of a sudden it has to be a sphere because it looks like it. And then all of a sudden, when it comes to parallel lines in the distance, all of a sudden he's saying your eyes suck and it might not look the way it is. So he's not mentally disabled. So this is all an act of just playing stupid in an intellectually dishonest fashion. Well, at least we have evidence of that now.
All right. Well, let me phrase it this way.
Looking like it perfectly overlaps doesn't mean that it perfectly overlaps.
Only
Hey,
got
right,
10
Just because
minutes
the
left.
horizon
Only
looks
10
flat
10
doesn't mean
minutes
it's perfectly
I thought-
flat.
10 minutes left, guys, to move on to eclipses.
10 minutes left. I didn't even get to do I did one of my things.
Maybe he shouldn't interrupt so much then. Because Flat Earth Dave could have made his points a lot quicker without the 50 million interruptions per point.
It could be 13 minutes.
Well, my question is, the
let's move
top
on
of the
to
World Trade
eclipses.
Towers, when they were up, are those floors larger than the lower floors? Because for them to be perpendicular, they would have to get larger, right?
How far apart were they?
What? What? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, I don't know what Flat Earth Dave is getting at there. I mean, we're going to have to go false cause on that one because I don't see the relationship there. I mean, he would, again, I mean, he didn't explain that at all. Maybe he's got a point to it, but as of yet, unexplained points, false cause for Flat Earth Dave there.
How far apart were the towers?
I don't know, but I'm asking you about one tower.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. Look, it doesn't matter. We're talking about the distance between the towers or the width of a tower. Do you know how much curvature there is over such a small distance? It is so small that it is 100% negligible. What are you not understanding about that?
So that's appeal to extremes. And also, he's claiming it's negligible. I mean, that's... I'm going to give him a little bit of a break here because at least it looks like he's attempting to at least do some kind of an argument instead of just constant ad homs.
The Earth is really big.
So do you believe that horizontal lines are parallel?
If you make them parallel, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about horizontal lines on Earth. When you're, surveying the land and you have a horizontal line, another one, another one, another one, are they parallel?
If you make them parallel, they're not lines, right? They're not actual lines. Do you know that lines are just approximations, right? We can draw lines, we can graph lines and do math in perfect Euclidean geometry. The Earth has a spherical surface. So yeah, we can go, that's a line and that's a line. And if we're just looking at less than a mile, yeah, it looks really straight.
But he's not talking about less than a mile. Flat Earth Dave is specifically talking about 1,000 miles. So this would be a red herring as well, and a circular reasoning, logical fallacy.
But it's not, because the Earth is a sphere.
And even a straw man, because Dave is not alleging that.
So you're not comprehending scale. That's the problem.
Has anybody
And perfect psychological projection there as well.
measured curvature in large body of water at rest? Large body of water needs a container to hold it in place. And has anyone measured any curvature on resting water? And don't tell me your drop and your wave, which is in your stupid video that got 10 million views.
Drop and wave? I don't even know what you're talking about.
We talked about water curves. You showed a drop of
Oh,
water.
yeah. Okay, no, I know what you're talking about.
That is just a complete straw man.
Well,
nonsense.
it's not, but actually, this is what's funniest to me is that you're flatter. You debunk yourself with this level water thing, because the funny thing is that so tides exist, right? And so on your little pizza world, tides are these little mounds of water that kind of travel around. I don't really know how else you're going to explain this, but right, tides exist, right?
Yeah, they do, but they don't correlate to the sun and the moon. There's
Stop.
So, Flat Earth Dave is demonstrating how he's strawmanning, and he's desperate to get him to stop exposing his own cluelessness, Professor Dave's cluelessness here. He gets so triggered to say, stop, don't expose my cluelessness.
Stop. No sun and the moon. No sun and moon. There are the water levels go up and down, right? And in different places, not everywhere at the same time, right?
Yeah,
so on your little pizza world, you've got a little you get a little mound of water that's just kind of traveling around. So I'm sorry, but water isn't level on your pizza world either.
Dave, what causes your high tides? The moon?
What causes tides? The moon and there's solar tides and there's lunar tides.
Right. And so when there's a new moon, which means the sun and the moon are on the same side of the earth, the tide should be bigger, but there's not. There's bigger tides when they're opposing.
It is.
No, they're not.
No, it is.
You're absolutely wrong.
No, I'm not. And you can Google it right now. What are you talking about? When the solar and lunar tides align, that's the highest tide.
Right, guys.
You're just saying it's not because you're just lying.
Is that psychological projection?
I'm being pushed by Ash to move on to day/night regions of illumination.
Okay.
Right. What does that mean?
Oh, well, that's my second thing. I can try. I'll do it super fast. I'll do it as fast as possible.
Go on. Do you need him to put the thing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, he might not be able to do that. Sean, what are you thinking?
The system has crashed. That's why I got kicked off.
I mean, I can try to. I mean, you kind of need the visual, but I mean, I'll wing it if you guys want.
Please wing.
We're not going to get the slides.
So.
Okay, so
sorry about that.
So this is the funny thing about your pizza world is that in the northern hemisphere things are kind of okay, not really, but in the southern hemisphere it all goes to crap. And so to try to explain night and day and seasons, which you absolutely cannot do, you try to make the sun go way out towards the bottom, and you think that works because it makes it the longer nights, right, up in the north. But the problem is in the southern hemisphere everything is terrible because you've got the sun way out towards the edge. And therefore, it shouldn't be able to illuminate very much of the Earth. But in the southern hemisphere, in like December and January, you've got regions like towards the southern ends of those continents that are almost day almost all day. So you've got 19, 20 hours of daylight.
In the southern hemisphere, what flat earther made that claim? It looks like, I don't know what Flat Earth Dave is doing here. I guess maybe he's just sick and tired of arguing with this goof who's got nothing but fallacies, but I haven't heard that claim. I've heard the opposite claim. Some flat earthers say that there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, but I mean, let's continue here anyway.
So you've got this sun that's traveling around way out towards the edge, because this is how you like to do it. And it is somehow illuminating almost all of the outer regions of your pizza world, and yet it is somehow not illuminating the center because areas towards the North Pole have 24 hours of night at that time. So unfortunately, you can't do the Antarctica isn't real, so the South Pole, that's not a thing. These are places where people live.
We don't say Antarctica is not real. We don't say that at all. You say
no. You say the South Pole isn't real.
We don't.
Even though there's people who go there and work there, and
people work at the South Pole.
Yeah.
Prove it. Okay. So
you can get a job there. Did you know that civilians can get jobs?
So the way it
works, you should apply for one. I think that'd be a cool video for you to do.
Dave, on your upside down world, on your ball world, in the north, Norway and northern Alaska, we have the 24-hour sun in June. Okay, and we see the sun, and it's been filmed by millions of people, and you can watch the sun circle around. Makes perfect sense on a ball. Makes perfect sense on flat Earth. We're on the same page there. But 12 months, 6 months later, at equal southern latitudes, you should see the same. But there's no video of the. No, you don't. There's no video of the 24-hour sun. There's 3 or 4 fake videos, clearly fake, taken apart. I'm talking, right? I didn't interrupt you. And there's no 24-hour sun. The sun antarcts away from you. It comes towards you and it goes away. Unlike the Arctic where it's circling around. I'm still talking. Okay. And there's no 24 hours of daylight. But if you add a dome in there, and again, we're looking at the lights in the sky, which is something that doesn't prove either. When you bring the sun closer to the dome, it wraps around. And we could show you this, get a dome, get a glass, move the light, and you'll see that the light wraps around. And that's exactly what we see in Antarctica.
Okay, so I know that you can do your fun little middle school science project where you have a little, serving tray thing and you make a flashlight do funny things, but you cannot make it actually. So this is why you have your dumb little app, your little thing in your sun and stuff. It doesn't actually show the regions of actual daylight and nighttime. It just shows like a little cartoon. You don't actually see, it doesn't actually do these patterns. So when you're called out on this, instead of going, oh, my app shows the actual patterns and this crazy arc that would make sense. So first of all, I'm sorry, even though there are videos at the South Pole, I'm sorry that Antarctica is not where a bunch of people live. So we don't have all of these videos like we do way up towards the North Pole. But again, as I said, the way southern region of Argentina, like I did in my video, Ushuaia or whatever it's called.
Which cartoon do you like the best showing Antarctica?
What do you mean, which cartoon?
Which cartoon? There's no pictures of Antarctica from space.
Okay, well, there are, so that's really dumb. But let me continue demolishing. Okay, stop. I'm going to continue demolishing the idiotic thing you just said earlier. So you can do your little thing. Flat Earthers love to do their little middle school science projects. So, okay, you've got the thing and blah, blah, blah. So why can't your Flat Earth app do it? Why can't you actually show the regions of day and night? Why can't you look at that and go, yeah, look at that. I see the light illuminating this part of the Flat Earth. Right, and I can see that we have 20 hours of sunlight in southern Argentina, and I can see that you just have a little cartoon doing nonsense, and then all of your idiot people who buy that thing, they're not like, oh, that looks cool, and they don't actually look at what it does at all, right? Why can't you have it show that, right?
It shows pretty accurately the amount of day and night, but I can't
No, it
show it.
doesn't.
Well, I can't show it because if on the latitude line that you're on. It's different where you are, so I have to kind of blend them together. It's just a tool to show
the amount of day and night depends. The amount of day and night that objectively happens in a place depends on your latitude.
Well, again, this is an issue. There's two sides on the issue here, because if your burden of proof is on positive claims, so if Professor Dave wants to claim that the continents are X distance apart, he would have to prove that, as well as anything. Now, the flat earthers would also have to prove that, but some of the flat earthers are saying that they don't know the distances because they can't verify them. So obviously that's not proof for a flat earth. But this is clearly another reductive logical fallacy and also false cause logical fallacy. I mean, there's just so many fallacies here that Professor Dave is just, this is just world record stuff here. Because if you don't know all of those parameters, how would you know exactly how many hours occurs where if you can't verify where you are in relation to a different place, which you would need to do to prove either model, of course.
Absolutely, 100% on your ball too. When I'm in the north,
I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand what I just said.
No, you don't understand what I just said.
So no, I definitely know that you're not saying anything. I'm saying that in that town in Argentina, there is an objective time where the sun rises and sets.
Yes,
and where you are doesn't change that.
There's no place that you have 17 hours of sun. You have daylight. Daylight is the illumination of the sky. It's not the sun.
From the sun.
No, the sun is.
You're saying that daylight is not from the sun?
Absolutely. So if the sun
where is it from?
If the sun
rises, what's making the sunlight then?
No. The sun is lighting up the sky. It's like a photographer. You have your main light and then you have your backlight. The sky is the daylight. When the sun is on the east side of your house, right on the horizon, go to the back side of your house. You can read the newspaper. Well, where's that? That sunlight's not. What's it going through your house? It's lighting up the sky.
It's scattered by atmospheric particles.
That's what
you say. It's
still
sunlight.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you say to say a thing that
Dave,
explains why what I just said is stupid, and I have no way to combat it.
Which is exactly what Professor Dave did this entire time.
How come nobody has filmed the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
They have. You just say it's a lie. They have, and you just go, oh, that's fake.
No, we don't. We don't just go, oh, that's fake. We
But
show
guess
you how
what?
it's fake.
That's why in my video I don't talk about Antarctica, because you just say it's fake. That's why I picked southern Argentina, because people live there and they have 19 hours of daylight, and you can't explain it because it's this
I did
huge.
explain it. You can't
No, you didn't.
understand
You
it.
just said there's a
Absolutely.
glass thing in the flashlight. You're just
Right.
doing a middle school science project. You're not actually explaining anything. You're just going, oh, I did a thing in my living room, so all of science is wrong. That's what you're doing.
And again, he's using the word science to describe his religion of scientism, because real science he would be able to clearly show why it's not XYZ and it's ABC instead. Clearly show that with controls, which he hasn't been able to support any of his positions because he doesn't understand the burden of proof logical fallacies or any of these other children's level logical fallacies. Now, Flat Earth Dave didn't do any of that either. He didn't prove his point in any way either. But the fallacy count here, there's a staggering difference. I mean, this was just clear obliteration in terms of logical debate.
You don't.
The globe. I wish I had this slide, because the
again,
globe.
Dave, the optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the Earth. You can.
They are.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
I
in
just
your
did it
world.
twice.
Yeah. Well,
And you have no
keep
way to
claiming
combat
it.
anything I just said. So that's why
claiming
you
it.
say that thing over
Can I
and
just
over again.
interrupt here? Flat Earth Dave, what would it take? Because I think Dave is saying that, people live in Ushuaia and that they have this, and you could just go and ask the people though. You could go, what would it take to convince you, and how important is it? Why is it important to you to hold this belief? What does it mean to you?
It's not important to hold the belief. I'm looking for the truth. And if the globe was true, then when in Antarctica in December, you should be able to see the sun circle all the way around without dropping.
And you do.
You can.
Dave,
I've seen loads of documentaries where that happens.
You can. You cannot see it. It's absolutely untrue. And we show the best one that they have. They show it 24 hours of the sun going around, and when it comes around, not only is it the same clouds, the sun is in a completely different position.
And just to reiterate, again, the burden of proof is on the positive claim. You can't just bring Bigfoot and ghost videos and expect people to believe it. Now, if they cannot provide the proof and they're just simply saying there is proof, they're on the fallacious side.
Months difference position. So it's all camera trickery, and it's provable. It's not just us saying it. So when you watch,
No,
these
it
things,
is
you're like,
just
oh,
you saying it.
Yeah, well, not true. And do some research,
Yeah.
Dave, and then get out of your little ball model, and you'll see. We don't live upside down on a space ball flying through an infinite
Down is
space
towards
vacuum.
the center of the earth. Nobody is upside down. That's one of the dumbest things you morons say. Down is towards the center of the earth. Nobody
Yeah.
is upside
So
down.
on your world, there's people upside down relative to me.
And you're upside down relative to them. It's a sphere. Who cares?
Good luck with that.
Your response to basic shapes is good luck with that.
Yeah.
Are you 5 years old? You have the intellect of a 5-year-old.
Wow, the psychological projection of Professor Dave is really on point. I mean, this might be world record, not only most logical fallacies in the least amount of time, but most accurate psychological projection in the least amount of time.
You can't understand, like, little
Dave,
kids understand this stuff. You know
I
that?
just want to say that you're more of a condescending prick than I thought.
I wouldn't say you're more than anything I thought. I know what you are, but I'm sorry, again, to reiterate for the third time, your entire identity is based on the idea that all the scientists in the entire world are lying deceivers. So
absolutely not
you're
true.
a condescending
That's
douchebag.
what you say.
And me
That's what
calling you
say.
stupid, which you are, does not hold a candle to
All right,
what
John.
you are.
That's what he claims. I don't believe that. And
Wait,
that's what
I've
what you're
got
believing.
another question for other Dave,
Oh.
Professor Dave. Just so obviously I can see. I mean, it means a lot to you as on the other side, of course. Why does it annoy you so much, the flat Earth stuff?
Because it's so, I mean, first of all, a lot of what I do, I do mainly academic tutorials, but I also address misinformation. I'm very passionate about public science literacy and science denial. And flat Earth is the bottom of the barrel. So I go after like anti-vaxxers and stuff like that. And that is a little more sophisticated. And you have to actually understand a little bit of biochemistry, a little bit of immunology and things like that. Flat Earth is the only one. I just proved the Earth is a sphere multiple times in this exchange.
So if he doesn't even understand, as he said, 5-year-old stuff, 5-year-old science, 5-year-old logical fallacies and faith are not proof. So again, he's just a leading member of the scientism cult, where he doesn't understand the difference between science and scientism. And then he gets all triggered and offended, and he has to hallucinate that anybody that doesn't keep the faith, the same faith that he does, is misinformation.
Based on looking at things in the sky and thinking. That's
Dave,
how we figured out the Earth is a sphere several thousand years ago. It's like the first thing we figured out.
Dave,
So this is why it's so offensive, because it is a denial of literally all of science. Astronomy, all wrong. Geology, all wrong. Physics, all wrong. It's so unbelievably offensive to the entire human race. That's why you're a douchebag, and me calling you stupid is nowhere near the magnitude of douchebaggery that is your entire identity.
Wow, that was a world record psychological projection rant. I mean, bravo, Professor Dave. This has to be the go-to example for psychological projection now.
You're talking to him, not me, right?
Sorry,
No.
yeah, to Davey boy over there.
So he believes that scientists that he never met 2,000 years ago proved that the Earth is a globe, when in reality, in the 1940s and 50s and up to the early 60s, they were still teaching flat Earth in public school here.
No,
Absolutely.
they weren't. That's just a thing you're saying.
That's an absolute
There's globes from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. You can't just say that. Like, you should show me something. Show me a textbook. You can't just say, oh, this thing I made up is true. You're an idiot. What are you talking about? We've known the Ptolemaic model, which was reigned supreme from 100 or whatever, to the Copernican model, used a spherical Earth. Geocentrism used a spherical Earth. And then Copernicus and Kepler happened. And they wrote books, by the way. They wrote books, and you can read them, that they exist. And we've known about heliocentrism for 500 years since. So I don't know what you're talking about. You are completely pulling that out of your ass. Nobody taught a flat Earth anywhere for any measurable amount of time.
Can we have Dave tell us how seasons happen on the globe?
Okay, so I wish I had the graphic because it really works really well. So there's a tilt in Earth's rotational axis, right? It's tilted like this. So one of the hemispheres is exposing more of itself to the sun, right? And so you get more direct light versus, so let's say this is the northern hemisphere, this is the southern hemisphere. More of the northern hemisphere is exposed to direct sunlight, so you have longer daylight, right? So it's so hard to just do in my hand like this.
No, I get it. I understand. You got it when we're tilted towards it, the sunlight's hitting direct, and it's more intensified here, and down here it's spread out more. Makes sense.
Because of the curvature, so it has to spread out around a greater area.
But isn't the sun so large that all of the rays leaving the sun are parallel? And why wouldn't the parallel rays that are a little off to the left, hit us direct? Are the rays leaving the sun parallel, or are they leaving not parallel?
Okay, when you have a certain here's a lateral distance. If the sun is directly hitting the part of the Earth that's directly facing it, that's a certain area. Then if you move this way, we have the same lateral distance, but there's a lot of curvature here. It's covering a greater surface area.
I have to ask a question. So can the Earth? The Earth.
Okay. Do you want to admit that I just explained that perfectly, and that your talking point was invalid?
I know. I admit that you explained that perfectly, but I have to ask a question. So we have the pole here, and we tilt the Earth. Okay. And can you tilt the Earth this way? That's a tilt, also, right? Absolutely.
You're just turning it. What are you doing?
No. What I'm showing you is here. Here, let's say the sun is over there, and we tilt, and we're now directly towards we have a more direct angle. We're in agreement on this. But if I'm here, and I tilt it this way, well, now the sun is lower. It's now skimming. It's now skimming, and it's not hitting as direct. So here's the problem with your seasons. In the north here, in December, when we're 3 million miles closer to the sun, but we'll just ignore that because it's not significant.
Yeah, it's not significant, so I don't know why you said it.
We're 3 million miles closer. At sunrise, in December at noon, when the sun is 50 degrees in the sky, and I look at the sun, I can barely feel it on my face. I can't get a tan, right? But in June, when we're farther away from the sun, doesn't matter. And at sunrise, when the sun is literally an 89-degree tilt, the worst possible angle, as soon as it shows up on the horizon, I can feel the heat and I can get a tan. Why is that? Because in your world, it should be arctically freezing every morning all year long.
I genuinely have no idea what you're saying. You
So he couldn't even follow the basics there. I mean, a child could understand that argument. I mean, if you put, you could do this with a fire, a campfire, and you can turn your body towards the campfire, move a little closer. Obviously, it should be hotter, whether it's on your knee or your elbow, if you're closer to it. So this goof, he's either pretending he didn't understand the argument because he knows that he has no answer. He's too dumb to come up with an answer or rebuttal of any kind. So he has to pretend he didn't understand it, or he truly does have some kind of mental disability and really didn't understand that very basic argument.
throwing around 89 degree. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so you have the sun here, right? The sun, and we're tilted, so it's 34-degree tilt. Well, if I tilted it all the way down to the horizon, so I'm here.
I wonder if Sean Atwood understands the point he made, and also this Andrew guy, because they're not laughing anymore. They look kind of serious. Did they understand the point he made? And they don't have a rebuttal for it. They know that, and Professor Dave basically just threw in the towel there, admitting that he doesn't have the intellect to understand that basic point. So, I mean, what's going on here?
And the sun's over here, okay? That's an 89-degree tilt, 1 degree off the horizon, right? Any farther, it would be below the horizon. The sun sets.
I'm already lost. I have no idea what you're saying.
It's because you're stupid, Dave. Right?
5 minutes
No,
left,
it's
guys.
because you're not
5
saying
minutes.
anything.
I will
You're just
explain
going,
it
if I
again.
tilt it this
I
way,
will
this
explain
has
it
nothing
again.
to do with anything.
Is that a logical fallacy? He's saying he doesn't understand anything. And Professor Dave, because you're stupid, but he did explain it. So technically, that wouldn't be a logical fallacy, I don't believe. Because if we're just using the strict definition of the word stupid, Flat Earth Dave explained this 2 times already, very clearly and succinctly. I mean, I don't know how to explain that even more basic. Even without the demonstration, I mean, does he not understand the point? If you're slightly closer to the fire, it should feel warmer. I mean, this isn't rocket science.
If the Earth is tilted 34 degrees, that's how
23 degrees, something like that.
23 degrees, whatever. If we tilted it 90 degrees, the sun would set. It would set over the pole, which doesn't happen. So the farther,
5 minutes left, guys. 5 minutes left.
The farther I tilt it, the more spread out those rays are. Well, the spin is the equivalent to the tilt. So when I'm spinning away from the sun's getting lower and lower and lower. It's spreading out across the sky.
Does Professor Dave not even understand how the heliocentric model works? In terms of where the globe would be as it's rotating versus where the sun would be if it's rotating away. I mean, Professor Dave genuinely, I mean, I don't know if he's faking this level of stupid right now. He genuinely seems confused and does not seem to have the mental processing power to even understand what Flat Earth Dave is saying.
Across the world, it should get colder and colder and colder because that sun is spreading out.
Spreading across? You understand that there's always a face of the Earth. There's always the sun is hitting half of the Earth.
Not according to time and date. All right, but that's
the sun isn't always hitting half of the Earth.
On the ball, it would be, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not
well, it does
but
though. So what are you
thing,
talking about,
David? You're not listening. Okay,
I am. You're just not saying anything.
So he's pretending that Flat Earth Dave didn't make an argument because he was too dumb to understand it. I mean, what would that be on the part? I mean, would that technically be a straw man and an ad hom rolled into one?
So if we're tilted away from the sun, we have our winter. And if I tilted farther, it gets really cold because Antarctica or the Arctic is tilted farther away. That's why it's cold in your world. Right?
But it's not. What do you mean if we tilt it further? It's not tilted further. It's a 23-degree axial tilt. So what do you mean tilted further? What are you talking about?
Why is it colder in the Arctic in the winter than it is in Florida in the winter?
I just explained it earlier.
Well, I know. Dave,
it's getting more direct sunlight.
Absolutely. So don't interrupt.
If the axis
Dave,
is tilted away, then it is. Dude, I just explained this. How do you not get this?
I really do wonder if Andrew gets this because Andrew and Sean. I mean, like I said, I don't know about Sean. He looks like he has a mental disability most of the time. He can't even tell what's going on, so he just laughs at stuff. But before, he looked pretty serious. Is it possible he did understand Flat Earth Dave's point, and there's no rebuttal here from these goofs?
No. You're not getting it. Listen.
Okay, you can just say that, but I actually explained it.
You're not getting this. Okay.
Dave,
No,
Dave, Dave,
no,
we've
hold
run out.
on.
Dave, we've
I-
run out of time. We've run out of time.
I'm filming this. Listen,
Well, I'm just going to let you guys tell the viewers where they can find you and support you. So, Professor
Yeah.
Dave, we'll start
Dave,
with you.
you
Huge
don't
thank
get
you
it.
for coming on, Professor Dave.
Maybe Sean Atwood did really understand, so he had to shut this thing down quick.
Thank you.
Can you tell the viewers where they can find and support you, please?
Professor Dave explains. Oh, sorry.
FlatEarthDave.com.
So, Professor Dave, go on. And what socials are you on, Professor Dave?
Just YouTube channel, Professor Dave explains.
All right, so Professor Dave's YouTube channel link will be in the description box below this video if you want to subscribe, if you want to check his stuff out. Huge thank you for coming on. Flat Earth Dave, do you want to tell the viewers where they can find you?
You can find me at FlatEarthDave.com, but I'm thinking of making it ProfessorFlatEarthDave.com, but FlatEarthDave.com because
Isn't that cute?
like, we get to make up to being professors. That's always nice.
Yeah, I actually
Flat
taught at an accredited
FlatEarthDave.com.
university, though, so
But
it's not
without a
that
degree,
weird.
Thank you.
without a degree,
Thank
and
you,
then they
guys.
fired you.
Thank
Multiple
you, guys.
degrees. I have a
And then
master's
they-
degree.
And they fired you.
We've
Dave,
got another
can I
debate.
get those bitcoins? Can I get those bitcoins?
You
We've
didn't
got
improve
another
the globe.
debate. We've got another debate coming up in
All
a
right,
minute. So
see you
huge thank you,
guys.
guys.
Yeah.
All right, what a train wreck that was. I mean, absolute obliteration. And you know what's crazy is Flat Earth Dave completely obliterated this guy, but he didn't even really make any good arguments either, except for that last one. That was a pretty decent argument where Professor Dave either pretended to not understand it and played stupid because he had no rebuttal, or he genuinely was too mentally deficient to even understand what point Flat Earth Dave was making. Obviously, there's presuppositions there too, based on the distance of the sun. So, yeah, I mean, and also poking holes in the. I mean, this is kind of like falsification is independent of replacement and false dichotomies, because even if the globe model is false, that doesn't mean the flat Earth model is true. So, yeah, I mean, Flat Earth Dave really didn't do that good of a job. I mean, he did really poorly, but what's funny is a flat earther doing poorly still completely annihilated this this goofy heliocentric globe earther who only had faith in fallacy and psychological projection, but in record numbers. I mean, look at these numbers here. I mean, this is just insane. So I hope you guys enjoyed another edition of the MindShock podcast in this logical analysis of yet another flat earth debate. And again, I do not claim anything is true or untrue, any theory is true or untrue. It's not about the conclusion, but this is great for educational purposes to see how fallaciously some people argue. Even if they might hold whatever model is true, if either of these models are actually true. Again, the ability to argue logically and scientifically is important. So you can't. This is again why I believe the flat Earth psyop is an actual psyop, because I mean, what are the chances that all these goofs are just arguing so poorly in defense of the heliocentric globe, almost as if by design to try to increase flat Earth membership? Again, that has nothing to do with flat Earth being true. If anybody believes I got any of the fallacies wrong here, or I missed logical fallacies, feel free to leave them in the comment section. You could also support the podcast by donating to our PayPal. Let's help logic and reason make a resurgence in a world where scientism, this religious cult, is taking over, pretending to be scientific while clearly not being. So you can donate to our PayPal to help us get more mind-shocking content out there with logic and reason at the forefront. You can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like and share, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.